Well, every day there is a new investment story grabbing the headlines. Artificial intelligence, SpaceX, probably heard about that, company going public. But what if you're retired or you're getting close to retirement and chasing all that hype could cause more problems than it's worth? What should you do? That's what we're going to unpack today. When you work hard and build and then you think of retirement, do you want to make a mistake that could cost you a lot? Let's start with why, people that are successful and confident and they're really jazzed for retirement, they've done a good job saving, but they get caught up in the buzz and the hype. I want to dive in. I want to be a part of it. And they maybe make a mistake. Have you seen this over the years?
Oh my gosh, all the time. We see this all the time. And, sometimes people just can't help it because, well, we're human. And I think also people have FOMO. Wouldn't you think that?
Oh no, FOMO is real.
FOMO is probably probably one of the biggest mistakes.
Mm-hmm. And it's a driving sort of metric that a lot of people look at things and they don't want to miss out. It's like
the fear of missing out.
Not getting invited to the party, right? It seems so much better when you're not there because you're not there. So it's definitely a major factor for a lot of people. And I think a lot of times people fail to recognize like that's the media's job, right? Is to sensationalize that sort of thing. So they get caught up in it. And I think a lot of times they think it's a lot greater than it actually is. And I'm not trying to take away anything from SpaceX by any means. I just mean that whole dynamic of, kind of the media's main objective is eyeballs and clicks. And if they're not doing that, then they're not doing their job. And it doesn't necessarily translate to a good investment, necessarily a bad investment either. It's really just to grab your attention.
But I mean, there is room. And I think this is where we always want to make room to have the excitement and to have, kind of that impulsive, like, I want to be a part of this, but not doing it with your entire retirement plan or even an amount that could drastically change your lifestyle if something didn't go the way you were hoping it would go. But of course, there's room to have some play with some of those, exciting new opportunities, right?
Yeah.
But pricing that in and making sure that that's a piece of the plan or like earmarking a certain amount. But yeah, that's what we do, but definitely don't take it away from the planning piece of it.
Yeah, it's so true. So Josh, when you're sitting down, especially with someone who's already a client, and again, you've built a plan, but again, like Alicia said, they're human, they're jazzed, they're jacked up. They've been hearing all this, been reading all the headlines, all of the stuff, and they want to act because of the buzz. How do you help them, again, gain perspective back to the plan that you put together, let's say 5, 7, 10 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ideas of kind of coming back to like, how does this fit with our overall goals? Where does this fit in with our objectives, right? Is it like the shiny new thing and we're pursuing it because it's the shiny new thing? Also looking at risk. I think a lot of times people look at things and you look at like, say, SpaceX is a great example of, an Elon Musk related company, and people hear all these stories about, somebody who got in early on Tesla and they did just exceptionally well. So I think they sort of look at it as like, well, how risky can it be? It's Elon's company, right? And I think you got to look at it in a couple different fashions, but obviously you have to look at it from an analytical sort of aspect and say, okay, how much risk am I really taking? What is the profitability of this company? Yeah, Elon, it's his baby. And obviously there's probably some metric of success tied to that. But again, you can look at a lot of the numbers and start to look at, hey, how are they actually deriving revenue? How much money are they spending? What's the likelihood that they're going to have, successful earnings over the course of time? And looking at just the small number of shares associated with that, and understanding the overall volatility implied with saying, hey, there's a very small public float. So when those shares adjust, there's going to be very limited amount of liquidity. And I don't think a lot of people recognize that. So you really got to kind of look at it. So am I acting rationally or am I reacting to the headline because I don't want to miss out?
Well, and I think crunching the numbers too of like, because I think sometimes people get so obsessed with what it could be. And yes, that's great. Like we love hoping for the best, but we also look at, okay, well, worst case scenario, what happens if XYZ? So again, we always come back to the plan. How does it affect you? How does it affect your lifestyle? How does it affect your taxes? I mean, there's just a lot more to look at it than just the excitement of the investment. Sure, you can have that. But also just kind of challenging people too from the greed aspect, and I hate to say that because it sounds just so not fun, but there are sometimes where people are just like, yeah, but what if it does this? And I'm like, okay, simmer down a little bit. Let's figure out.
Come on, Alicia, I want to play the what if scenario.
I know, but I'm going to play the what ifs too on the other side of it. And that doesn't feel as romantic as the wins, right? So it's all about the plan.
Yeah, it is all about the plan, folks. This may be the right time to just take a step back and assess, where are you? And if we mention the plan and you go, I don't have a plan, well, guess what? You should get one. If you're over the age of 50, retirement's getting closer than you believe. I mean, what if at 59 or 60, you could retire? Now, all of a sudden, you're 9 or 10 years from that. If you're 55 and you want to retire at 65, again, you're in a decade that you don't want to make big swings and big mistakes. This is what Alicia and Josh can do. They can, again, identify blind spots, hidden risks, costly mistakes that could be costing you down the road. Reach out today to the Lehman Lewis team, 970-446-1234. 970-446-1234. You can also text the word VISIT, VISIT, to that same number to set up that appointment. This is Retire Colorado with the beautiful smiling faces of Alicia and Josh Lewis. I'm Bruce Steinbrock. We also do this for Facebook and YouTube. And so you'll see those episodes live on YouTube. Of course, we do it live so that you can watch how we do the show. And,
all the bloopers, all the
exactly.
Bloopers here and
There's
there.
plenty of those. So Alicia, we're talking about ways to avoid those costly mistakes. Blind spots are things that are there when we're driving too, right? I mean, we drive and all of a sudden, boom. Yeah, I remember the other day I was on the interstate and driving along and I just did not see this car. And I was about to, make the lane change and, something kind of caught my attention. And now cars have, a lot more mechanisms on them to try and warn you of those blind spots that are there. But avoiding costly mistakes is key. So how does someone who, again, has serious retirement savings, but they still want, again, this big thing, how do you really just help them at least reach a rational decision?
Well, again, I think it comes back to the numbers, right? And there are a lot of vehicles that have, like you said, where they have the mechanisms and the lights and the beepers and all this. And Josh and I, we both drive older vehicles that don't have that.
Me too.
And it's fascinating teaching our oldest, who just got his permit.
Look out.
Does that make you feel
Look
old?
out, world. Pray for us, please. And so it is fascinating, just teaching him where to look, what to look out for. Meanwhile, all the other things that he needs to be looking out ahead. And so there's just so much to look out for. And even just, the gas pedals and all the brake and all the things, right? And it has actually challenged me to say, gosh, there is so much value to the extra help because, I was driving with him in my dad's vehicle the other day and my dad has this, fancy, he's got all which he needs it because he's, maybe not as good of a driver as he was 20 years ago. So
The
he needs all the
chuckster.
things. And I was like, man, this is really nice to have all this extra help and extra this, that, and the other. And so I say that because I think when you are getting in that retirement phase, there is so much value to have a team and value to have all the extra help in areas because all it takes is one thing that you miss or that one car that you didn't see that could crash your retirement savings or crash your vehicle or what have you. And so having the extra help in retirement, having people who really focus in on the retirement planning and making sure that you have the proper strategies in place, and people that are not just, okay, the strategies are in place, we're good, but guiding you through that and making sure that you understand all the things that are going on around you. That is that's what we show people. And that's what we guide people through retirement and make sure that they have all the tools that they need and, just are well equipped and so that they can enjoy it, because it should be the road trip of a lifetime, right? That's what retirement is supposed to be. And oftentimes people are getting in retirement and they are white knuckling it because they're scared to death. And that's what we don't want. That's not how retirement should be. And that's what we do. We help people through that.
Yeah, and Josh, we got about 30 seconds left here, but again, having those extra set of eyes, or sensors or whatever it might be, that's the key to working with a team like Lehman Lewis.
That's right. It really is kind of having somebody on your side to check those blind spots and to unpack a lot of those things of saying, hey, is this hype? Is this a blind spot? Where does this fit in? And really kind of having the opportunity to have a sounding board to look at those things, more objectively, because we all have our own perspective. We all have our own bias. We're going to look at things the way we look at them. And then when we sort of zoom out, talk with some other people, I think it gives us a lot more perspective. And then we're able to see things a little bit differently, or maybe look at some things that we didn't actually consider in the first place.
Again, folks, do you have blind spots? Are there hidden risks within your portfolio? Do you even know? Now, you can get a review with the Lehman Lewis team to look at all of this and look for concentrations of risk and avoidable mistakes. Bring more clarity and discipline to your decisions. Reach out today to talk with Alicia, Josh, and the Lehman Lewis team. The phone number, 970-446-1234. 970-446-1234. We've got more Retire Colorado straight ahead.